So there's this weird thing about lost media that always gets me. It's not just the stories themselves, but how they vanish. Little pieces of the past, some dark, some everyday, slipping through our fingers into this void of nothingness where we can't quite reach them. There are so many lost videos out there, each with its own pull, its own weight. Today I want to walk you through a few that hit hard, stories that stick with you because they're real, because they happened, and because what's left of them is locked away or lost forever somewhere. Let's dive into the darkest lost media. Have you ever heard of the Threemile Monster? It's May 31st, 2013 in El Reno, Oklahoma. The town's just doing its thing, a quiet Friday winding down like any other. Then the National Weather Service in Norman sends out a tornado warning for southwestern Oklahoma and southeastern Canadian counties, set to hold until 7 p.m. CDT. At 6:23 p.m., they notice something freaky on their screens. A possible multiple vortex tornado heading right for the area. The experts are thrown off because this isn't your typical storm. It's got a mind of its own. By 6:03 p.m., an EF3 tornado slams into the ground 8 miles southeast of El Reno. It's small at first, but it doesn't stay that way. It grows fast, stretching out to a ridiculous 2.6 miles wide. That's the widest tornado ever recorded by surface area, a record that still feels unreal. It tears through open fields, which keeps the town safe, but for the people who chase these storms, it's like a beacon calling them in, and it's deadly. There's this group called Twistex, formed back in the mid-2000s. Tim Samaras is the guy in charge, a total pro who knows storms inside and out. He's got 10 scientists with him driving these high-tech vehicles loaded with weather probes to study supercells up close. That night, Tim teams up with his son, Paul Samaras, who's on video duty, and Carl Young, a meteorologist, in a Chevrolet Cobalt. Their plan is to drop a weather drone into the tornado's path to grab some rare data. Stuff that could change how we understand these things. Tim's not reckless. He's known for being careful, one of the safest chasers out there. They head toward it, figuring they'll get the drone out and be gone before it's a problem. But this tornado doesn't play fair. It changes course, picks up speed, and swells into something massive. They're driving south on the highway, thinking they've got it timed right, but then it veers straight for them. They try to turn back to outrun it, but that 2.6 mile wide wall of destruction catches up. The car's overtaken, Carl and Paul get thrown out, Tim's stuck inside as it's tossed around. All three of them, unfortunately, don't make it out alive. Two days later, about half a mile away, search crews come across Paul and Carl's bodies in the wreckage. Not far off, they find the Cobalt, smashed up with Tim still inside. Their gear's scattered all over a nearby creek bed, and among it is Carl's camera. Somehow it still works, and it's got their final moments recorded on it. Only a few people have seen what's on there, like their friend Gabe Garfield, who's talked about it a little. He says Carl mentioned how eerily calm the air got just before it all went wrong. And then Tim's voice comes through, saying, "Actually, I think we're in a bad spot." After that, over the radio, you hear his last words, "We're going to die." That footage is locked up tight, never released to the public, and probably never will be. There's this other clip floating around online, though, showing Twistex in those last minutes, joking, driving, no clue what's coming. It's heavy to watch, knowing how it ends. That storm was a freak, a 1 in a million disaster that took lives and left behind this lost piece of history. It makes you wonder what else is out there, captured but hidden away.
RFD has wrapped 360 degrees around it.
While others ran away,
Amazing sight.
Tim Samaras ran towards.
It's just totally unbelievable what's happened, because it should never have happened to Tim.
Longtime friend.
Now, let's shift to Friend Frankie. It's March 9th, 2001, in Rodenburg, Germany, a little village where nothing big usually happens. But there's a guy dead in a bathtub, blood all around him. His throat's cut open, his reproductive organs are gone, and he's been sitting there for 3 hours. It's a brutal scene, hard to even think about. This all connects to Cannibal Cafe, this messed up website from the early 2000s that was all about cannibals, people who were into eating human flesh for real. It was full of dark stuff like pedophilia and vorophilia, and they'd say it was all just fantasy. But then you've got Frankie, who posts there in early 2001. I'm looking for a young slaughter boy, 18 to 25, normal build. I'll butcher and eat you. It's so blunt, just sitting out there online, waiting for someone to bite. Most people who reply back out quick. Who wouldn't? But Bernd Brandes doesn't. He's a computer engineer, and he's got this weird thing where he wants to be the one eaten. He gets in touch with Frankie, and through emails, finds out his real name's Armin Mewes. They don't mess around. They set up a meet that same night. Bernd shows up at Armin's place and asks him to bite off his appendage. Armin tries, but it's too tough, so he grabs a knife, cuts it off, and tosses it in a pan with some spices. He burns it though, cooks it so bad it's useless. Bernd's losing blood fast, getting weak, so Armin takes him to the bathroom and puts him in the tub. He gives him painkillers and alcohol, then slits his throat, kissing his forehead as he dies. Every bit of it was consensual, which twists your head around even more. Armin spends the next 3 hours sitting there, reading a Star Trek book, while the body's just feet away. Over the next few days, Armin grabs a chainsaw and starts cutting Bernd up, storing the pieces in his freezer next to some pizzas and a dead rat. He's filming the whole thing on a VHS camera, every step of it. For 10 months after that, he's eating Bernd, over 44 pounds of him, cooking up parts whenever he feels like it. He goes back to Cannibal Cafe and brags about it, laying out all the details for anyone who'll read it. That's where he slips up. Someone on there reports him. By December 2002, the police raid his house and find the body parts and that 4-hour tape of the whole ordeal. Armin's arrested, but it's a tricky case because Bernd was all in for this. Still, they convict him of murder, saying it was about sexual gratification. He's in prison in Frankfurt now, locked up for life. That tape's never been shown outside the courtroom. Too gruesome, they say. It's one of those lost things that's so dark, you almost don't want it found, but knowing it's out there somewhere keeps it alive in a way. Then there's Man in the Chair. It's the late 1980s, and Kathleen Allen, who's 18, is hanging out in a motel room with her boyfriend, Michael Carroll. It's a normal night, nothing strange going on. Around 10 p.m., Michael says he's got something to do and tells her he'll be back by morning. She's cool with it, and he leaves. Morning rolls around, and Michael's not there. Kathleen doesn't make a big deal of it. She keeps going to work, living her life. 3 days later, she's at her job when a call comes in. Some guy says Michael's been shot and isn't coming home. She's stunned, tells her boss she's got to leave, and runs out to the parking lot. A bearded man walks up to her. They talk for a minute, and she gets in his car. They drive off, and that's it. She's never seen alive in public again. This ties to Leonard Lake, born in 1945 in San Francisco. He's a bright kid, but his life goes off the rails early. His parents split when he's 6, and he moves in with his grandma, who doesn't do much to stop his weird behavior. He's taking naked pictures of his sisters, dissolving mice in chemicals, pushing his siblings into sexual stuff, and she lets it slide. That freedom lets his dark side grow unchecked. By the 1980s, he's deep into survivalism, paranoid about a nuclear war wiping everything out. He's building bunkers at every place he lives, trying to prep for the end. In 1981, he puts an ad in a war game magazine looking for someone to join him, and that's how he meets Charles Ng, a guy from Hong Kong with a history of trouble. They click right away, start stealing guns together, get caught, and spend some time locked up. Once they're out, they head to Wilseyville, this quiet wooded town, and Lake gets people to help him build another bunker next to his cabin. He's stashing illegal weapons in there, but he's also got video equipment, which feels out of place until you know why. Kathleen gets pulled into that bunker. That call about Michael was a setup to lure her in. Lake and Ng are grabbing people left and right, men to rob and kill, women to lock up and torture, and they're recording it all on VHS. In June 1985, Ng gets caught trying to steal a vise from a hardware store. Lake rushes over to cover for him, but he hands the cops an ID that belongs to a guy named Robin Stapley, who went missing weeks earlier. They're both arrested. 4 days later, while in custody, Lake swallows cyanide pills and ends it. The police search their property and find cars from their victims, plus a burial site with 40 pounds of crushed human bone, probably from at least 11 people. Inside the bunker, they uncover buckets with IDs and belongings, and a bunch of VHS tapes showing the torture and murders. Ng ends up convicted of 12 murders and is still alive, serving life in San Quentin. Those tapes are sealed away, too horrific to ever release. It's a brutal story, and the fact that it's documented but lost makes it hit even harder. Last up is Where Are You? Back in the mid-90s, a 15-year-old's up late messing with a boombox that's got a tape recorder built in. He catches this weird broadcast on WKCR 89.9 New York. Random names, dates, static, nothing else like it out there. Then you've got creepypastas, those online horror stories from the early internet days. Stuff like Suicide Mouse, Ben Drowned, Slender Man. But Jeff the Killer is the one that sticks around. It's not scary now, kind of cheesy, but that pale, eyeless face blew up online in the early 2000s. Someone named GameFuel 2000 puts it on the Creepypasta Wiki in 2011, and it spreads fast. Then this guy, Cesur, comes out saying it's his creation, pointing to a YouTube video from 2008 and a Newgrounds post about Old Jeffy. He says he made the image with a white latex mask and some fake eyes, and people buy it for a while. But then there's this video from 2007 called NNN Special Broadcast, and Jeff's face shows up at the end, before Cesur's stuff. That throws everything off. Digging deeper, people find him on a Japanese site, paya.cc, in 2005, posted by someone called Omega Bolt. The file's named Pretty Face, and no one can track Omega down. A few weeks later, another version pops up, White Powder 2, from a user named Mr. Mulholland. It's less edited, shows more detail. He says he saw it unedited years back, thinks it's from a video of an Asian woman with a super pale face, maybe from a show called Honto ni Ata Noroi no Video. People scour every episode from 1999 to 2005, but nothing matches. The oldest trace is July 24, 2005, on a site called fileman.n1e.jp. It's just sitting there with a caption, Fear of a Summer Night, and a note calling it a celebrity before plastic surgery. No other clues. Since then, Jeff's everywhere online. Fake versions, edited copies, dead-end leads. People keep hunting, asking who took that first picture. Are they gone? Do they even know what they started? It's turned into one of the longest-running mysteries on the internet, and it's wild to think about. You'd figure with how connected everything is now, we'd have answers, but this just keeps slipping away. There are rumors it's part of a set of 3 photos, or that it's tied to some random video no one can find. Every day, someone's out there making their own original and passing it off as real. It's frustrating, but it's also kind of cool how something so simple can stay so unknown. Jeff's this weird legend now, a face we all recognize but can't pin down, and that's what makes lost media like this stick with you. So that's it for tonight. These stories, the storm, the cannibal, the bunker, the face, they're all real, all gone in some way, and all leave you thinking, what's out there that we'll never see? Tell me what you think below. Does the mystery get you, or the darkness? Catch you next time. Sleep tight if you can.
You